The same insincerity and hollowness of promise in effect another formula that is popular with the anti-affirmative action crowd, the formula of the level playing field. Here the argument usually takes the form of saying, it is undemocratic to give one class of citizens advantages at the expense of other citizens. The truly democratic way is to have a level playing field to which everyone has access, and where everyone has a fair and equal chance to succeed on the basis of his or her merit. Fine words, but they conceal the facts of the situation, as it has been given to us by history. The playing field is already tilted in favour of those by whom and for whom it was constructed in the first place. If mastery of the requirements for entry depends upon immersion in the cultural experiences of the mainstream majority, if the skills that make for success are nurtured by institutions and cultural practices from which the disadvantaged minority has been systematically excluded, if the language and ways of comporting oneself that identify a player as one of us are alien to the lives minorities are forced to live, then words like fair and equal are cruel jokes, for what they promote and celebrate is an institutionalized unfairness and a perpetuated inequality. The playing field is already tilted, and the resistance to altering it by the mechanisms of affirmative action is in fact a determination to make sure that the present imbalances persist as long as possible. One way of tilting the field is the scholastic aptitude test. This test figures prominently in the Dinesh D'Souza's book, Illiberal Education, in which one finds many examples of white or Asian students denied admission to the colleges and universities, even though SAT scores were higher than the scores of some others, often African Americans, who were admitted to the same institution. This, D'Souza says, is evidence that as a result of affirmative action policies, colleges and universities tend to depreciate the importance of merit criteria in admissions. D'Souza's assumption, and it is one that many would share, is that the test does in fact measure merit, with merit understood as a quality objectively determined, in the same way that body temperature can be objectively determined. In fact, however, the test is nothing of the kind. Statistical studies have suggested that test scores reflect income and socioeconomic status. It has been demonstrated again and again that scores vary in relation to cultural background. The test's questions assume a certain uniformity in educational experience and lifestyle, and penalise those who, for whatever reason, have had a different experience and lived different kind of lives. In short, what has been measured by the SAT is not absolutes like native ability and merit, but accidents like birth, social positions, access to libraries, and the opportunity to take vacations, or to take SAT prep courses. Furthermore, as David Owen notes in None of the Above, behind the myth of the Scholastic Aptitude Test 1985, and I quote, correlation between SAT scores and college grades is lower than the correlation between weight and height. In other words, you would have a better chance of predicting a person's height by looking at his weight than you would of predicting a freshman's grades by looking only at his SAT scores. Everywhere you look in the SAT story, the claims of fairness, objectivity, and neutrality fall away to be replaced by suspicions of specialized measures and unfair advantages. Against this background, a point that in isolation might have a questionable force takes on a special and even explanatory resonance. The principal deviser of the test was an out-and-out racist. In 1923, Carl Campbell Brigham published a book called A Study of American Intelligence, in which, as Owen notes, he declared, among other things, that we faced in America a possibility of racial admixture, infidelity worse than that faced by any European country today, for we are incorporating the Negro into our racial stock while all of Europe is comparatively free of this taint. End quote. Brigham had earlier analysed the Army mental tests classifications, drawn from another racist text, Madison Grant's The Passing of the Great Race, which divided American society into 4 distinct racial strains, with Nordic, blue-eyed, blonde people at the pinnacle, and the American Negro at the bottom. Nevertheless, in 1925, Brigham became a director of testing for the College Board and developed the SAT. So here is the Great SAT test, devised by a racist in order to confirm racist assumptions, measuring not native ability, but cultural advantage, an uncertain indicator of performance, an indicator of very little except what money and social privilege can buy. And it is in the name of this mechanism that we are asked to reject affirmative action and reaffirm the importance of merit criteria in admissions.